Hello, beautiful angels. This is too exciting, too wonderful, absolutely divine to be here with you once again. Ah, what an honor. I always think about it as an honor. We are here today to start this amazing online retreat. So it is about going within, accelerating our evolution, being so supported by so many incredible great ones and the light that surrounds us. And I don't say that lightly because I really want to always look into the ethers to see what's really going on. And since this morning, it's just been floods of light. And I just, I always feel it's so unbelievable, but also believable that this is the response, of course, that a collective like this gets. It was Patricia Cota Robles that spoke about this a few days ago in her new video, how important the collective cup of consciousness is. And she was, saying, let's say there is a disaster in the world and everybody's praying for the well-being of all, and it creates a cup of consciousness. And the teachings of Oren have always been about growing through joy, not disasters. And so here we are making sure that we all, as humanity and Mother Earth, evolve through joy. And just by being here, accelerating your evolution, as you maybe know, is actually one of my favorite tools. I have a few with Oren. I believe I have done, if not all, many of the courses with Oren since I was, in my 20s. And I finally found some of my favorites that I would do again and again and again and again, no matter how big the self-realization already was, no matter what master was already communicating or even appearing physically in my reality. I would still go back to what we did last time, which is increasing your inner light. And I do that one again and again. And so hopefully, since you maybe participated last time, you keep working with increasing your inner light. It's absolutely essential. And then the second one in this kind of process of self-realization that I love working with is accelerating your evolution. I've had some incredible celestial experiences where the veil was completely lifted. And what I was able to see is really miraculous. And so I know the power of this work. The power of work with Orin, I know some of you are new to this. I just want to say, first of all, it's 222 of us here, which of course is the joke of Divine Mother. She is always in the body of number two. And these digits come from cosmic realms. And in cosmic realms, digits actually are just energies, they are movement. And so, just so that you know, it's really about 350 of us who registered for this course, which is, to me, absolutely magnificent for the collective and for this ascension process. And so, accelerating your evolution will be truly a journey of incredible initiation. When I started to work with Oren, I wanted to just show a picture here. It was in 1995, and it's nice to kind of think about these things, how long things take and took, when the energies was still so dense and really thick, and we had to put so much effort into this. And so my first encounter with Oren was in 1995. And so since then, I really have worked with Oren on a really daily basis and sometimes many times a day, but it accelerated itself. And then once you start accelerating your evolution, the miracles are just non-stoppable. And the better it gets, the more you want to do. That's how I always felt. The better it gets, the lighter it gets. That's not when you don't stop. That's when you finally get to the place of your true divine self with your divine potential. And then the game really gets really fun. And so, it's been a journey. And so, what I noticed when I started to work with Oren slowly but surely, eventually, I was really cleansing my pineal gland, and not by some kind of, process that I would eat a certain way, but the meditations with Oren were cleansing my pineal gland. And I could see what's being released. I could see inside of myself as if I had an X-ray looking within. And I was able to see how this work actually is not just, you sit down and you listen to transmission or meditation. It is actually super energetic. And once I started to see with this X-ray, you could call it whatever you want, third eye opening, looking within, I started to see physiological, biochemical changes in the body. And this is basically what ascension is all about. So you can think about this as, for me, one of the greatest tools we have right now, comparable clearly to something like the great yogic traditions that we have, like Kriya Yoga and Taoism, when you work with energies within yourself, your internal alchemy. This is absolutely comparable. And so I consider myself to be Yogananda's disciple, like many of you. I was guided by Yogananda after I worked with Orin for a very long time. I met Yogananda in person. He came to me in person, or I came to him, I don't know, in 2010. So put it into perspective. Working with Oren since 1995, digging through unconsciousness and those dark energies, the heavy energies, the family things, and all of it. And finally coming to a place of enough light and lightness in 2010. Think about it like, this is again like the old world that we are leaving behind, we are transcending it. And that's why this tool will be so exceptional for all of us in this world. And so in 2010, I encountered Master Yogananda, the avatar. And he stood before me in Encinitas in his physical body. I now know, how much energy it takes for a being like that, even though there are, these great avatars, to actually manifest physically for someone. And he's done it many times to many people. But to me, that was all the result of doing the work with Orin and Deben as well. So I share the work of Orin, and also there's, of course, it's orindaben.com. And so Daben, it was the teachings of the light body, but eventually Orin also brought to us the teachings of the light body, which hopefully we will get to do next year. That's my hope, that we will be allowed to do that. And so that's just the excitement for me to do this work with as many people as possible, because when everyone is in their divine self-consciousness, finally in the highest potential, it's a completely different way of existing. It's a different way of being in this world. It's a different purpose. It's a different everything. And then all the circumstances and the reality has to harmonize, of course, because that is the result of our consciousness. Since reality is a mirror, then when we become a divine being within, the mirror also has to reflect back to us as a reality. And when you think about the great masters, like, for example, again, Yogananda, just because I've known him personally like this, and many of you have as well, of course, um, he didn't have those particles of dust within him. He cleaned himself up. And of course, so many great beings who came into this world, Anandamayi, a great example, again, another wonderful, avatar, saint, a being, and maybe not exactly avatar, but it doesn't even matter what we call it, an incredible being of divine consciousness, where only divine consciousness was present. You see, humanity, since we've been through fall, whatever we want to call it, we did fall. We did fall. And we ended up in a world that we normalized, but we normalized such incredible dysfunction of the spirit within us. And so that was the fall. It's a very big story that I always talk about, and there's so many videos about it on our YouTube, but also we do it on our free calls. But the dysfunction became so normal that it became normal. And then we said, oh yeah, of course the human being is made like this, through birth they come into this world, they are reincarnated all the time, they live a life like a child, they have parents who are very often unconscious, that's normal. And then, they go to school, they sit, and then they go to work, make money, then they retire, maybe have a little bit of fun, and then they die. And sometimes they suffer, often they suffer. That all was the fallen world from which we are emerging. Energies have accelerated immensely in 2020 and will continue to accelerate through this year and next year. And of course, we are ascending from the fallen world. And so in the fallen world, we also got very contaminated. We got so contaminated, every single one of us here, except for the great masters who, knew how not to be contaminated. And we then, because 8 billion of us would be contaminated, it became like, oh yeah, that's normal. But it is not natural to be contaminated. And the contamination really took over our mind. We sunk the mind from the divine mind, the universal mind, the mind which is one with the divine, which is able to connect with spirit, which is connected through the soul into the spirit, into the divine self, into your source self, God self. That mind became disconnected from us, actually, from most of us, unless we did a lot of practices and meditated a lot to restore the divine mind. We ended up in the mind of the person, not even a human being, but a person. Person with a personality, a person so incredibly attached to the body consciousness. I would even call it body unconsciousness, but body identification. And then every single one of us in this world became that person. I was born, this is my name, I'm a woman, I'm a man, one day I will die, this is my past, this is what I struggle with, this is what an ancestor did, this is the relationships, and that became our status quo. Of course, some people were able to elevate, and some people developed a very nice personality that we would then call the higher self. Nice personality, even loving and kind, a little bit more relaxed, a little bit less thinking, maybe more feeling the love, but still, that is not our true divine potential. Our highest potential to actually is to be a divine being, to be a reflection of source, and not to have those dust particles within us, because why would we? And that is what enlightenment is. And we are all on this incredible path right now, so accelerated since 2020. In 2020, we received such incredible assistance from these higher realms, and we were finally able to really do something with it within us. And that's why we are here today. Because since 2020, even our physicality has been liberated. And people think maybe physicality doesn't have much with our divinity, but actually it absolutely does. Because since we are in a body, we again will be in a certain form and shape in higher realms, because we always are, as long as we are individualized beings. We could be individualized form of light, individualized field of consciousness, and that is what allows us to exist. We always exist. And so when people say, now I'm alive, tomorrow I'll be dead, maybe, who knows? That again is not exactly correct, because we always exist. I've had so many out-of-body experiences that actually recently completely stopped, which is very interesting. And now it's just about being here and being completely just connected to the divine self. But who knows how it all goes, on. But through the out-of-body experiences, I realized that we are constantly existing, but also in a state of constant expansion. So once we leave the physicality of this body, which was supposed to be truly a vehicle for our divine self and the soul, as they are both different aspects of our being, divine self as the source self, divine self as the spirit self, divine self as really the one that gave birth to your soul. And so we were supposed to be here vehicles for all of this multidimensionality that we are, and in a way channel the light all the way from spirit through the soul, down through this physicality, through this body, into this world. And that would, if it worked really well, as it was meant to be, then we would be constantly surrounded by rainbow light in our light body, as well as some kind of physicality that would probably work a little differently, a little bit more liberated from all the dust particles in our DNA. And we would be then emanating the light of God, really, into this world. 100%, not 99, but 100. So that would be just our true nature. That would be just the beginning. That would be just a well-functioning divine human being. Isn't that amazing? And so the physical body has certain channels through which the light of God, the light of your divine self, through the soul was meant to emanate into this world fully and completely 100%. And then we would be busy with something else than, working, earning money, cooking meals, and all of those things, because we would be functioning as one with source. And so, in our very unlimited divine potential to truly be those co creators with source. And so, we would be using our divine mind, not our distorted personality mind. And we would also have a very different relationship with the body. And so in 2020, much of this got released and is being released even more, even more, even more. We are truly transforming matter into so much more light. And so accelerating your evolution will be supporting all of us here so incredibly in this process. And so a few things. First of all, this is our cup of collective consciousness here. It's pretty incredible, all of us gathering here after so many years of meditating. And I used to meditate, many, many, many hours a day, and I would not sleep. I would just meditate, even though I had a family. But it was just one of the things that was calling me, not to sleep, but to meditate. And because meditation can replace sleep if you do it correctly, of course, then you feel super recharged and you can do all the things anyway. And so it just allows us to step into more and more of who we truly are. And so I was meditating for so many years. And then one day I had an incredible experience at Mount Shasta while meditating. And I was actually just meditating with Oren and probably doing Accelerate Your Evolution because I was working with it a lot. And this was in 2020. And it was in spring. It was spring equinox 2020. And I did a lot of meditations. And then I came outside and there was a beautiful field facing Mount Shasta. And my family, they went fly fishing, and so I was alone, and I was just looking at the mountain. And suddenly I had an physical encounter with beings from higher realms who truly came down to speak. And they said to me something that really puzzled me and it confused me for a while. They said, "Oh, it's so wonderful. You're working so much on your own consciousness, you're expanding this and that. And we just want you to know it is not about you, it is about the earth." And that was the first time in 2020, spring equinox, that they gave me the information that actually is so much more about we do what we do to serve this planetary ascension. That, of course, also is humanity's ascension, but it is the planetary ascension. And so that really, was like, whoa, we do it for the earth. Okay. Purpose on. Wonderful. And so I'm just going to go through some beautiful images here before we go into our first transmissions. So this is from our summer solstice just a few days ago, really, June 20th in Bodega Bay at the Pacific Ocean, where about 57 of us came together to serve the earth. And we were using all the wonderful free meditations with Oren that are on orenandaben.com in the free meditation room. And so what we did the peace meditation, we did the receiving and emanating divine love. And we were also working with this new chapter, the new dawn, dawn of the new light. And so then we did all our beautiful work that all of you supported from a distance or in person there. And it was just magnificent. And so thank you for that as well. And so here, just technicalities. For those of you who signed up and said that you do not have this course, Accelerating Your Evolution, then orenandaben.com, and going to your downloads that you see in the upper right corner, click on your downloads, and these downloads are then placed automatically into your account. Usually it takes us a few days before it is done. We are streamlining this process, but at the moment it is the wonderful admin at Oren and Daban, Greg, who is assisting with this. So everybody who said that you don't have the course and so you paid for the course, you will have it there. You simply log in with the email address that you have with Oren and Daban if you already have an account, and if not, then Greg is sending everyone an email with your login details. And then once you log in, you will be able to go to your downloads, and these are eternally there. And so you can just download them onto your laptop or computer, or you can also listen actually live from your downloads, or you can put it whatever tool you use. I have it also in my phone. I like to have it on the go. And so all of this is there. And so once again, I just wanted to introduce, for those of you who are not familiar all in the depth with the work of Oren. Oren, I got to meet Oren for the first time in a very conscious way in higher realms, actually only last year, after all those years. And that doesn't mean that I didn't meet Oren before or that we didn't meet Oren before, but this was an encounter like encountering you in the physical. I was taken into higher realms, and this was last year, and I was taken into a temple. And in the temple, this was a temple of Orin and Daben, and I felt like this is the first time being there consciously, and it was almost like sitting down with Orin and Daben, these unbelievable cosmic beings, and Sanaya and Dwayne, and where they're present as well. Dwayne was Sanaya's husband. And this was interesting because Dwayne was still in the physicality here on this planet, but he also was in these higher realms in the temple. And so Sanaya, she already departed from the physical reality, but she brought to us all the teachings of Orin, which are just profound. I don't even like to think about it as channeling, even though Sanaya would refer to it as channeling. But these days, you know, everybody channels on YouTube, and that's very different from what Sanaya did. For me, just seeing her in the higher realms and realizing that she is very much part of Orin, I would say that that's exactly how it works. That Sanaya is truly, yes, part of Orin, Orin's consciousness, and that's why she was able to transmit the energy of Orin as well. This is not just some words, and it's definitely not random. What is so not random about this is the incredible path of self-realization that Orin actually brought to us, to humanity, through Sanaya. I spoke to Dwayne before he departed his body, and he actually told me that Orin told Sanaya that Orin's purpose all the way, all the many years and all the decades of channeling was to eventually bring the jeweled vehicle teachings and transmissions, which is the light body teachings. It is, Dwayne told me this is very, very similar to actually the light body taught by Daban through Dwayne, but it's just different. But it's also very similar. In the end, you achieve having your light body, having your vehicle of light, which now has been upgraded again. And to me, the jeweled vehicle, I would say, is the most up-to-date, most modern light body that we can develop. And so you see where we at. And then anyway, we will get to this, but there is a journey to be taken. And this journey is just so beautiful, step by step. And we are not starting at the basics of the personality and the higher self, because this is the new time. This is the year in this world, 2024, which means that we are truly way into this ascension process. There will be a peak of energy that we will soon witness in this world. The energies will peak so massively, and these will be the energies of our central spiritual sun. These energies are electric in their nature. And you know, electricity is electricity. We must be prepared for high voltage. If you paid yesterday for the course, you know, Greg is working on it. It might take a day before you see it in your downloads, but it will be in your downloads. So we are not even really so much working with the soul anymore. And that is not because the soul will be bad or not modern anymore, who knows what, but there is transcendence that is happening. The soul is really created by the divine self, by the spirit itself. And I got to see all of this through Yogananda. Yogananda actually took me into the soul plane, and I would say physically, in a way that like you are not imagining anything, it's just there and you observe it. And then he took me way beyond the soul plane into what I would call the spirit plane. And eventually there is a plane above it, which is the absolute. And so through this work, you will be able to access all of it, of course, because all of it is our divine architecture. This is so exciting, isn't it? So exciting because this gives us the big picture. I personally have never liked the small picture. I didn't like the details of this reality. I didn't like things where like you have to count things and you have to focus on the detail of something because the big picture is cosmos. The big picture is this big, big cosmos. And within the cosmos are multiple universes. Imagine that. All of this is visible to us, and it becomes available to us to see through our third eye, which naturally opens through this work. Again, when you meditate, you do focus on your third eye, meaning, and we will, go through the technique. The focus on the third eye allows us to actually go into these higher planes and eventually have incredible visibility. The visibility of higher planes is very exciting. And, the big picture is available to all of us. And this is how we get to it. This is how we remove all that is between us and the big picture. I think about it this way. The person down here is often standing here with very dark umbrella above them. They're holding onto the dark umbrella and they don't even know it. And the light of the spirit is shining every day, all the time. But a person with a very tight grip on a very dark black umbrella cannot really fully enjoy the light of the spirit that is theirs. They cannot even enjoy all the gifts of the divine self, the unlimited bounty of the divine self in all ways, if the umbrella is still in the hand and above the head. You get the image? And this is how most of us have been taught to be in this world by holding on to the personality self. So it's time to let go of that black umbrella, burn it all in the living fire of God, whether it is the violet fire or the golden fire of God, it doesn't matter. Every single day, I burn it all every day, no matter what. Even if you think you clean and you think there is not a speck of dust within you, still every day surround yourself with the living fire of God. Step into it. Use your body, because the body needs to be a tool we use to actually deepen our self-realization. And once you step into the living fire of God, let go of all those dust particles. Sometimes they are bigger, you know, because liberation is just the beginning. In the past, we had all these philosophies, wonderful teachings, because they had to be here since there was no way we were going to ascend anyway. There was not even an opportunity for a collective to ascend. And so we got these teachings, about reincarnation, about liberation, about enlightenment. But the system was still a jail. But now the system is an open system. We are in a new planetary system, and ever more so, ever more so. 2024, 2025, those will be great liberating years through that light of the central spiritual sun. And so we let go of all things. It's very easy now. One thing, insist upon one thing every day, being your divine self, nothing else but your divine self. Letting the spirit channel through you without an umbrella and just open up to it like an open holy grail. Receive it all. Now is the time to receive it all. It's happening and it's available. And the only thing that stops us from receiving is the old personality self that had some kind of beliefs about something that was probably nonsense, including our spirituality that probably also was filled with a lot of stuff that doesn't really serve us anymore. And so every transmission with Orin is accompanied by glorious activating music by another being that now and again Sanaya was able to channel through her talent for music. and her skill in playing the piano. And this being is Thaddeus. And she described Thaddeus as an enormous, fire angelic presence of great love and power. And so not only do we receive the energy of Orin and all the great ones who work with Orin, we also receive the incredible transmissions. It is all about frequencies from Thaddeus. This is just unbelievable, and that's why it's so powerful. I have never found a tool like this in this world. And I look on YouTube and people recommend stuff, but this is truly equally powerful to the work that Yogananda introduced in this work with Kriya Yoga, the transformation that happens through us through this. And of course, there's more to this. And I introduce always the more to it. The more to it is focusing on your spine. The more to it is your breath. But Oren often speaks about focusing also, on your posture, breathing deeply, because the body has to be engaged to be part of our spiritual ascension too. And so we do that too. We sometimes even do Qigong together, and we will do that again. And so what is our acceleration here? We will absolutely build the bridge between the body and the spirit. Between the spirit and the body is our higher self and is our soul. And again, the soul was birthed from spirit, but the soul is like a very large egg that has the north and south pole into which the spirit flows, nurturing the soul to have all these experiences that never affect the soul. The soul is never affected by the experiences. I think of it as Netflix often. I don't know how many movies are, in the cloud of Netflix, but maybe millions. And so these millions of movies are the millions of experiences that exist within the soul in that cloud. And just like Netflix is not touched by drama that is in a movie or even someone's death in a movie, so the soul is also untouched by the drama. But today, so we're starting a journey that will take us even beyond the soul, into the spirit, into the luminosity of your divine self. The mystics knew all of this, of course. This is from the ancient Taoist texts, and they knew that if they sit a certain way, if they meditate a certain way upon the earth, they will be able to unlock the gates of heaven. The gates of heaven are actually cosmic consciousness. Cosmic consciousness is our highest consciousness that we can become in terms of expansion, in terms of connection. We connect not only to the physical body, but through the physical body, we realize who we truly are. It's pretty incredible. And so we realize we are luminous beings in cosmos, and the luminosity is ever expanding. And this is why we do what we do. And so I will just quickly take you through what we will be doing here today. And this week, we have a lot of beautiful transmissions. So the way this will work is that every day we have 2 calls, 11 a.m. Pacific and 5 p.m. Pacific. You don't need to participate in both. They will be exactly the same. You can if you want to. On each call, I will speak a little bit less than today. I just wanted to really do the introduction. And then we will do 2 transmissions with Oren. I recommend sitting upright or laying down on your back if you like to meditate laying down, so that you can be fully relaxed. But the upright position and the straight position of the spine, even if you're laying down, is really an important part of success for actually self-liberation, liberating from the limitation of the body. And so as we keep the spine upright, we will be today connecting with the spirit. This is an amazing, to me, it's initiation, being able to connect with the light of the spirit. The spirit light will be connecting to us through our crown, through a halo. And in the past, you've seen, surely, we had many saints always depicted with a halo. But also there are people who developed a real physical, visible halo if they do a lot of this work. And there are many books about that. I even read about a guy in the army who was so focused on helping his father and healing his father and learning all the healing techniques that he some engineer in the Army, US Army, developed a halo. And so we will be working with that halo today. Our second transmission with Orin will be so magnificent. It will be about absorbing divine essence. And you see in all of these images, there is a common theme, that is, there is a pillar of light that runs through us, enters us through the crown. And we have many more chakras now available to us than we used to have, but it basically enters us through the crown and it comes into the physical body and also our energetic body, which is the most important one. And so all these images come from AI. And so I've been working with my daughter creating images for this beautiful intensive here by using AI. And so absorbing divine essence. What does it mean to absorb divine essence? We were destined to absorb divine essence. We were destined to be like this, beings deeply connected to all life, beings deeply connected to Mother Earth and her planetary energies. And that also means the energies of nature that is here, and then nature that is cosmic, nature that is galactic, and nature that is universal. And if all of this could work really well, then we would be 100% available to these divine energies to enter us and then inform us. And we would be constantly inspired in spirit and moved by the love that runs, by the light that runs through us. It's really amazing. And so that will be our first two journeys. I just want to show you what we will be doing. We will be absorbing divine essence as a wave of light. You will recognize this from the teachings of Yogananda. Our goal is to dissolve a little bit, dissolve the identification with ourselves as the person in the body who has a face that you've seen so many times in the mirror. This is the time of becoming selfless so that the divine self can enter, to becoming formless so that our formless consciousness can become us. One of the tricks Yogananda taught me was constantly thinking of myself as just energy in the ocean that is one with the ocean and has no body, has no history, has no name, has no face, is not a woman, is not a man, but just energy. And so this will be what we will be doing here today. We will also be entering the beautiful higher realms on the soul plane. There are planes, of course, above the soul plane, and actually the teachings of Orin often come from beyond even the soul plane. But in the soul plane, we will be entering these beautiful realms. And so that is what we will be doing here today. And so let us take a short break, bathroom break, so that everybody can get into a perfect posture to be able to meditate. I have a picture here again. AI is helping us to create the perfect posture. So a perfect posture for me is having my feet actually on the ground if I'm meditating sitting. I don't want to be crossing my legs anymore. This is the time to go back to how the Taoists used to meditate, to have all the energies flowing. And the purpose of this is for magnetism, because there's different magnetism in our hands, in our legs. And this is a wonderful way to let the magnetism support our meditation practice so that we can receive the light of the spirit. And why do we do that? Once again, the posture allows us to connect with these very, very celestial realms that emanate the energies we want to be connecting with, such as the energies, for example, of the Big Dipper, the energies of the star Sirius, and of course, the energies of all our central spiritual suns. And you know that we are part of an incredible solar system, not just the one we know physically, but also the spiritual solar system. So all of that can flow better through us. And so let us take a little bathroom break before we start our first transmission. I'm just going to play a song and we will be right back, ready to connect with spirit. And know that this is, approach it as an initiation, as a sacred moment, as a moment in which you are changed. These changes will keep unfolding within you. Wonderful song called I Am Grateful by Karen Drucker. It was so amazing for those of you who came to Bodega Bay to be with Karen in person. She sang for us all day long, her wonderful songs. It was super special. And so I just checked my emails, and about 10 people say they didn't get the Zoom links today. But I'm assuming, since so many of you did show up, that the Zoom links did send. It's an automated system, but I just responded to everyone who did not get the Zoom links. So we'll figure it all out. Wonderful. And so let us get into a posture with a big smile, realizing that this is actually our ascension process, reconnecting with spirit. Once upon a time, we were beings who were connected with spirit, of course. And we had that pillar of light moving through us without any distortions and expressed into this world fully and completely. And so here we are. We're going to do the two transmissions together. So it's going to be connecting with spirit and also absorbing divine essence. So I will not make a pause in between. And so we start our beautiful journey. Each transmission is about 25 minutes. So number 1 and 2.